CreepyCorner stories.
Hey everyone, welcome back to CreepyCorner stories. You know, diving into the dark web is always risky, but sharing these stories with you makes it worth it. I'm curious, where are you watching this from right now? Let me know in the comments below. I've noticed that these kinds of stories hit differently depending on where you are. It might even make the experience a little creepier. So, tell me, are you watching from the safety of your home or somewhere less secure? I found gates of heaven on the dark web. I thought it was fake, but last night there was a light on the sky waiting for me, and I received a note on my door saying, "We are still waiting for you." What's up, Reddit? I've never posted anything like this before, but I don't know where else to put it. I can't talk to my friends about it. They'd think I finally lost it. And honestly, maybe I have. I need to get this out somewhere before I go completely insane. My name's Tyler. I'm 22. I live in Northern Oregon, small town, nothing special. I work at a Starbucks near Portland, live in a decent little apartment, and I spend way too much time on Reddit, Discord, and watching YouTube horror channels like Here's My Story, or those animated horror shorts where the guy always survives by the skin of his teeth. You know the ones. This all started about 3 weeks ago, and if I had known how far down the rabbit hole I'd go, I would have smashed my laptop in half and gone off the grid. No joke. So here's how it began. I was bored one night after my shift, scrolling through TikTok while reheating leftover McNuggets from McDonald's. Not the best life choice, I know. One of the vids was some dude claiming he bought access to something called the Gates of Heaven on the dark web. I laughed at first. It sounded like one of those ARGs or a viral horror game. But the video was creepy in this weird, quiet way. Like, no jump scares. Just unsettling footage of glowing lights in the woods, shadowy figures standing perfectly still in cornfields, and some guy whispering, "They're not human. They never were." I was intrigued. I found myself spiraling through a bunch of those videos, and they all had the same vibe. No gore, no monsters, just weird light patterns in the sky, odd humming sounds, and symbols drawn in ash on people's doors. One Reddit user claimed that after accessing the site, someone had left a feather, an actual feather, black as charcoal, on their pillow. Now, I'm not new to the internet. I've been down some messed up rabbit holes before. Watched live streams of abandoned buildings in Russia, glitchy Twitch accounts that only go live at 3:33 a.m. Even followed that one TikToker who claimed he time traveled to a deserted version of Spain. But something about this, it felt different, real. So yeah, I got curious, stupidly curious. I downloaded Tor again, which I hadn't touched since I was like 17, looking for cheat codes and creepypasta forums. Got back on the dark web. I searched for Gates of Heaven site and got nothing at first, just dead links and scammy pop-ups. Then, one night, I was on some sketchy marketplace board looking for haunted ebooks. Don't judge. And someone posted a thread titled, "For those who hear the humming, gate access now open, we are waiting." The post had 0 upvotes, no replies, and it had a link, one of those long jumbled onion URLs that scream bad idea. I sat there for a good 20 minutes before I clicked it. The site was weird. It wasn't flashy or dramatic. It was minimal, almost peaceful, like a calming website for a meditation retreat or some cult-ish TED Talk thing. White background, simple serif font, a single message. The light is real. All seekers welcome. Step into the silence and find truth. Below that, 2 buttons. Enter as guest. Enter as pilgrim. I went with guest. Thank God. I don't even want to imagine what pilgrim does. The next page was just a series of videos. Short, grainy footage with no context. One was of a guy kneeling in the middle of a wheat field in the dead of night. Another showed a forest, might have been somewhere in the Pacific Northwest, and a glowing figure hovering off the ground. There was this disturbing pattern. Every video had this low humming sound in the background, like when your TV's on, but muted. It wasn't until the 4th video that things got personal. It was my street. I swear to God. You know that eerie feeling when you see something familiar out of place? There was a video titled, "He Will Find the Light Soon." It was filmed from what looked like a car parked outside my building. You could clearly see my Jeep in the driveway. The timestamp was from earlier that same day, 3:04 a.m. I nearly dropped my laptop. I closed everything, shut off my Wi-Fi, pulled the curtains. I didn't sleep that night. I thought maybe it was just coincidence. Maybe someone was messing with me. Deepfakes, stolen footage, whatever. But then things got weirder. The next morning, when I went to grab my DoorDash from the porch, Chick-fil-A, if you're wondering, there was a sticky note on my door. Simple, handwritten in neat cursive. "We saw you watching. You're almost ready." I dropped the bag. I'm not proud of that. Over the next few days, I started hearing things. The humming. At first I thought it was tinnitus, or maybe something electrical in the walls. But no, it moved with me. I'd hear it in my AirPods, even when nothing was playing. Once, it even came through during a FaceTime with my friend Dan. He heard it too, and said, "Bro, what's that buzzing? Sounds like a freaking wasp nest in your room." I told him I didn't know. Played dumb. That's when the light started. 2 nights ago, I was driving home from work around midnight. Took the usual back road behind the shopping complex because it's quicker. There's no streetlights there, just trees and that one creepy abandoned storage unit place that looks like something out of Stranger Things. That's when I saw it. Hovering above the trees was this light, pure white, pulsing like a heartbeat, silent. But then the humming kicked in so loud, it felt like it was inside my teeth. I swerved and nearly crashed into a ditch. By the time I looked back up, it was gone. And now, last night, I woke up around 3:14 a.m., same time the videos were time-stamped. The entire apartment was lit with a soft glow, like moonlight, but too bright. I rushed to the window and nearly fell backward. There was something in the sky above the forest behind my building. A figure, floating, no wings, no body, just glowing. It pointed down at my building, and when I opened my door, shaking like crazy, there was another note. "We are still waiting for you." That's it for now. I don't know what they want. I don't know who they are. But something is happening. Something big. If anyone else has seen the gates of heaven sight, or the lights, or heard the humming, please let me know I'm not alone. It's been 4 days since I found the second note. Since then, I've barely slept. I keep waking up at random hours, 2:17 a.m., 3:14, 4:01, with this taste in my mouth I can't explain. like copper and static. I threw out all the food in my fridge because it started smelling like bleach. Every time I tried to make coffee, the water turned this faint grayish tint, like there was ash in it. I've been living off vending machine snacks and bottled water from 7-Eleven. It's the only stuff that doesn't taste wrong. But that's not even close to the worst part. It started the day I got curious again. I told myself I wouldn't go back on the site. After that glowing figure and the humming, I was done. But then, I saw something on my For You page. I swear TikTok is listening. It was a brand new account, no profile pic, 0 followers. The video was just a 4-second loop of static with reversed audio and one caption. "Why didn't you open the door, Tyler?" I hadn't told anyone what happened, not even Dan. I felt this icy wave crawl up my spine. I clicked the account, but it was already gone, deleted, just like that. I gave in. I opened Tor again that night. The gates of heaven's sight had changed. There was no more enter as guest option, just one button. Enter as pilgrim. I don't know what possessed me to click it. Curiosity, fear, something deeper, maybe something planted. Because when I clicked it, I felt something in my chest drop, like falling from a great height, but internally. A single loading screen appeared with the message, "Do not look away. Do not speak. Do not eat the flesh." Then, the site glitched, like visibly glitched, with the screen shaking and tearing, and I heard a voice. Not a typed message, a real voice, male, low, almost mechanical. "You've been chosen. Your body is not yours anymore." Then the screen went white. The next thing I remember is waking up in my bathtub, fully clothed. My phone was floating beside me, screen shattered, and carved into my bathroom mirror, not written, carved, were the words, "Your eyes have been blessed. You now see what cannot be unseen." That was the first time I noticed the faces. Not people. Faces, in reflections. Not mine. Not anyone I know. Just faces. They'd show up in the corner of my phone screen when I unlocked it, in the glare of my microwave, in the puddle outside my front step. Always grinning, always slightly tilted. Sometimes they blink, and they're getting closer. Then came the pilgrimage. I didn't decide to go. My body just went. I got in my car that night, barefoot, not even realizing I was driving until I hit mile marker 88 near Mount Hood. I had no GPS running, no signal, but I kept driving like something was guiding my hands. Eventually, I found this dirt trail with 2 rotting wooden signs on either side. Both had the same burned-in message: "We will tear your truth from your flesh." I don't remember parking. I don't remember stepping out. All I remember is the sound, this vibrating drone that made my skull throb and my teeth chatter like I was freezing to death. I staggered into the woods. The trees looked wrong, too symmetrical, too perfectly spaced. No animal sounds, not even wind, just this pulsing hum that matched my heartbeat. After maybe 10 minutes, I saw them. Figures, dozens, all standing perfectly still, like mannequins. Some were naked, others were wearing what looked like old fast food uniforms. Starbucks, Taco Bell, even one dude in a Chuck E. Cheese shirt. Their eyes were all blacked out, not like they were gouged, more like the sockets had been sealed shut with some smooth, pale skin. One of them moved, just one. It raised its hand slowly, pointing toward a clearing. I should have run, screamed, cried, but my body just walked. In the center of the clearing was a massive stone archway, like a demented version of the Arc de Triomphe, but twisted, literally. The stone looked like it had melted and reformed, and the arch leaned ever so slightly, as if reality around it was warping. Above it were 4 symbols that shimmered and pulsed like living things. My brain refused to process them. Every time I tried to focus, my vision blurred and I got nauseous. Then I saw her, a girl, maybe 18 or 19, filthy, face pale, eyes wide, wearing what looked like a dirty Oregon State hoodie and torn leggings. She was crawling toward me on her hands and knees like an animal. Her mouth was stitched shut with fishing wire, and she was holding a phone. She shoved it into my hands before collapsing. The phone lit up with a single video. No passcode. It showed her, sitting in what looked like a hotel bathroom, crying. She whispered, "They took my parents. They said my blood was loud enough. I think I'm next. If you find this, don't open the door. Don't eat the flesh. And whatever you do, don't answer when it calls your name." The video ended with a single flash frame I had to go back and freeze to see. It was a face, one of them, inches from the camera. Its mouth was stretched impossibly wide, cheek to cheek, and its teeth weren't human. They were shards, like broken crystal. That's when the arch lit up. I don't know how to describe the light that came from it. It wasn't white. It wasn't any color I've ever seen. It was like a thought, pure vibrating energy that filled my head with static. I dropped the girl's phone and tried to run, but the figures closed in, still not moving their legs, just appearing closer every time I blinked. I blacked out. When I woke up, I was back in my car, back at my apartment complex. No sign of mud, no scratches, no phone, just a third note on my windshield. "You have now seen. We will begin the trials." That was 2 nights ago. Now, the hallucinations are constant. I think they're not hallucinations. I saw a guy get dragged into a storm drain on 43rd Street yesterday. His screams sounded like modem dial-up noises, like his voice was breaking apart. No one else reacted. People just kept walking. I asked Dan to come over last night. I didn't want to be alone. He showed up drunk and annoyed, like usual. I didn't tell him much, just said I was dealing with something bad. But when I left him alone for 2 minutes to grab him a water, I came back and found him staring at my TV. It wasn't even turned on. He just whispered, "I see them in the screen." Then he bit into his own hand so hard, he cracked 2 teeth. I had to wrestle the remote from him and snap him out of it. He ran out of my place barefoot, screaming something about "the sky has teeth." This morning, I found his phone in my sink. It had a new contact saved. The Shepherd. No number, just a contact image of one of the faces, and a scheduled call time tonight, 3:14 a.m. I don't know what's going to happen, but I've stopped questioning what's real and what isn't. I think they're not from heaven. I think Gates of Heaven is a translation error, or maybe a trap. Whatever's behind that archway isn't offering salvation. It's harvesting something, and the humming is getting louder. They took Dan. I didn't see it happen. I didn't hear it. There was no struggle, no blood trail, not even a single footprint. One day, he was in my call logs, and the next, his contact photo was gone, his name replaced with a black square. When I tried to text him, the message didn't send. Instead, my phone flashed a strange alert. "The Shepherd has received your sacrifice. I swear to you, I haven't left my apartment since that night, but I know they've been inside. I woke up on the floor yesterday, right in front of my closet. I don't remember falling asleep there, but when I opened the closet door, everything inside was wrong. My jackets, molded, my shoes, lined up like grave markers. But that wasn't the part that made me dry heave. There was a man's arm nailed to the back wall, clean, pale, as if it had just been removed. The fingers were bent upward like they were pointing to something, and someone had carved a single word into the bone using what looked like tiny bite marks. Awakening. Later that day, I found something hidden beneath my welcome mat. A black USB drive. There was no label. It had a metal casing and a red dot on it. No other markings. I plugged it into my laptop. Yes, I know I'm a dumbass. And the only file on it was a folder called Day of Arrival. Inside were 12 videos, each one named after a different person in my life. Mom, Dad, Dan, Liz, my ex, Mr. Halter, my 6th grade teacher, even my old barista from Starbucks, Luis. Each video was no longer than 45 seconds. Each one showed that person screaming in the darkness. No background, just pitch black and them, lit by some dim, sourceless light. Screaming words I couldn't understand, almost like reversed audio or a dead language. But it wasn't just random terror. They were screaming at me. They'd shout, "Why didn't you protect us, Tyler?" Or, "You were supposed to stay blind." My mom's face split open like wet paper halfway through hers. No blood, just a void, like her head was hollow inside. I tried to throw the USB drive away, but it came back, not a metaphor. I tossed it down a storm drain, a mile from my place. I watched it sink. When I got back to my apartment that night, it was waiting on my pillow, wet, wrapped in a single strand of long blonde hair. Something's changed in me. I haven't eaten in over 3 days. I'm not hungry. I'm not thirsty. But I'm awake. Painfully awake. I can hear every noise in my apartment complex. The ticking of the hallway clock. The shudder of the water heater 2 floors down. The heartbeats of the people around me. But I can't hear my own. I went to a mirror, touched my wrist. No pulse. That's when I noticed the bruising. Thin, circular welts around my arms and thighs, like rope burns, but too precise, too symmetrical. I looked like I'd been tied down by machines, and I found something else, beneath my skin. I was scratching my forearm, and the top layer peeled away like latex. No blood, just this thin, shiny membrane underneath, almost reflective. When I poked it, it gave off a sound I can only describe as a child laughing underwater. I know how insane this sounds. I wouldn't believe me either. But that's the point. You're not supposed to believe. That's how they win. At 3:14 a.m. last night, same time every night, I heard a knock on my door. 3 soft knocks, followed by the humming again. But this time, it wasn't just in my ears. It was in my bones. My teeth clicked together involuntarily. My muscles seized. I bit my tongue so hard, I chipped a molar. The lights in my apartment began to dim, not flicker. Dimensions, like something was slowly sucking the light out of the bulbs themselves. I didn't open the door, not at first, but then I heard my mother's voice, software, just beyond the door. "Tyler, honey, we're waiting for you." She's been dead for 6 years. Cancer. She died in my arms. I watched her gasp her last breath, watched her eyes roll back. But that voice, that was her. Exactly her. Same tone, same rhythm, same warmth. I cracked the door, and behind it was not my mother. It was me, standing in the hallway, pale, eyes completely black, wearing the same hoodie I had on the day I clicked enter as Pilgrim. He didn't speak. He didn't smile. He opened his mouth wide, and something crawled out. Not a tongue, not words, but a thin, gray hand. It slithered down his chin like an eel, long and jointless, reaching toward me. When it touched my shoulder, my entire body went rigid. I felt like I was being scanned, and I saw something. Not a vision, more like a memory that wasn't mine. A room, giant, infinite, full of bodies suspended from hooks, all of them twitching, and above them, floating in a whirlpool of red light, were the figures from the forest. But this time, they were moving. Their faces were constantly shifting, turning inside out, grinning, moaning in reverse. One of them had Dan's face. It looked right at me and said, "Flesh is only a mask. We have always been beneath." I woke up this morning with a fresh note on my chest, pinned there by a sewing needle through my skin. The note simply said, Phase 2, consumption. And now, everywhere I look, TikTok, Instagram, even my Google Maps, there are new accounts following me, all blank, all with usernames like flesh_angel88 or harvestproxy_314. One posted a video of me sleeping last night from inside my room, and in the comments, one user wrote, "He's almost tender enough. I think I know what they're doing, what they're harvesting, not just flesh, not organs. That would be easy. They're extracting something deeper. They're breaking down people, bit by bit, until all that's left is a shell, a husk. And then they wear them. Dan, he's not gone. I saw him today, at the Wendy's on 89th. He was in line, ordering like everything was normal, except his head twitched every few seconds, and his jaw was too wide. When he turned to look at me, he didn't blink, just grinned, and whispered something that made my stomach cramp. "You taste like forgiveness." I ran. I didn't pay for my order. I think I saw one of the workers smiling too. Too many teeth. I think they're everywhere now. In Starbucks, in hospitals, in classrooms, wearing people, wearing us. And the gates of heaven, that's not an entry point. It's a butchering floor. We were never meant to see it. But those who do, they get marked. And when your flesh is soft enough, when your fear marinates you long enough, they consume you. Not with teeth, not even physically. They absorb you. Memories first, then your voice, then your face. Until someone sees you in a crowd and says, "Didn't you die last year?" And you just smile. I don't know how much longer I have. I haven't seen my own reflection in days. Mirrors just show static now. I think they've taken my image. If I don't post again tomorrow, check your phones. If your screen glitches at 3:14 a.m., turn it off. Don't answer the door. Don't speak your name. And for the love of whatever you still believe in, don't click enter as Pilgrim. I burned my tongue on my own scream last night. That's the kind of sentence that sounds poetic until it actually happens to you. Until you realize your voice has heat. Until you feel your throat peeling and your scream boiling out like a kettle left on the stove too long. The pain was only part of it. The real horror was that it didn't stop. I wasn't screaming anymore, but the sound kept coming out, like my body had decided to keep reacting even after my mind had disconnected, like it was echoing from something deeper. That was at 3:14 a.m., of course. The exact second the humming turned into voices. They weren't whispering this time. They were chanting. The night started like all the others have lately. Quiet, rotten, hollow. The taste in my mouth has shifted from copper and static to something closer to burnt sugar and spoiled milk. My apartment smells like antiseptic now, but I haven't cleaned in weeks. Every room carries the stench of a waiting room. Sterile, fake, watching. I've unplugged every electronic in my place. Laptop, gone. TV, smashed it with a dumbbell. Even my Echo Dot, which I didn't remember owning, was glowing red one morning and playing reversed children's lullabies at 4:03 a.m. I put it in the microwave and set it to 5 minutes. It screamed when it started melting. But the air has changed. I'm not hallucinating anymore. I know that now. It's not sleep deprivation, not psychosis. This is deeper, more designed. I don't know how many others are involved, or how long this has been happening, but I know this. Every person who's accessed that site is being changed, not just tracked, not watched, engineered. The trials have started. I think they're different for everyone, tailored, like a spiritual autopsy while you're still alive. They don't just want fear, they want your weakest self, and they show it to you, over and over, until you believe it's you. The first trial happened yesterday. I didn't recognize it until it was halfway through. I was walking to the gas station for water. It's the only thing I can still stomach. The place was empty, which was weird for a Wednesday afternoon, but not impossible. I walked in, grabbed a gallon jug, and turned to pay. The cashier was me, not the me from last week. This version looked right. Clean haircut, no circles under the eyes. Still had the scar from when I split my chin skateboarding at 14. Still had the same faded NASA hoodie, except his eyes were missing. Not gouged, not burned, just empty skin, smooth and pulsing slightly, like something was breathing behind it. And when he spoke, his mouth didn't move. The words just appeared in my head like memories. You saw the gate. Now you must walk through. Then the lights in the gas station started to blink. Not flicker, blink, like eyelids. Every time they closed, the shelves changed. First, they were normal. Then they were filled with rows of teeth, not fake ones, real teeth, human, milk teeth, molars, all laid out like candy. The soda coolers were filled with organs in clear bags, livers, lungs, kidneys, all labeled with names and dates. I saw Dan's name on one. Then I blinked, and the cashier was gone. The water jug I was holding melted. I didn't even realize it until the plastic began dripping onto my shoes, burning holes in the soles. That was trial 1. Trial 2 happened in my sleep, I think, but not in a dream. I woke up standing in a Target dressing room. I haven't shopped there in months. I was wearing clothes that weren't mine, some kind of ceremonial robe, stitched with glowing thread in patterns that hurt to look at. I blinked, and I wasn't alone. There were 3 people in the room with me. No one said a word. They were naked except for burlap sacks tied over their heads. Their bodies were covered in numbers, tattooed, scratched. Some looked fresh, others were old. When I tried to speak, one of them shushed me with a finger made entirely of tiny hands. Then they lifted their heads. Under the sacks weren't faces. There was light, not warm, not inviting. It was blinding, like the kind of light you see in the moment before a car crash, the kind that makes you understand that your life is over before your body catches up. I tried to look away, but my eyes wouldn't close. That's when I realized I didn't have eyelids anymore. The dressing room door opened, and something walked in on all fours. It wasn't human. It wasn't animal either. It looked like a pile of skin-colored sheets being dragged by limbs made of microphones. Its head was a CRT TV, cracked and flickering. The screen was showing my autopsy. I was on the table, cut open, organs removed, except my heart was replaced with a spinning gear, and my blood had turned into shimmering black sand. The creature spoke in 1,000 voices, all me. You don't deserve your body. Let us wear it instead. Then they all turned toward me and laughed, not mockingly, just hungrily. I woke up naked on my balcony, a fresh note taped to my chest again, only this time there was no pin, just a small red mouth sewn into my skin. It whispered, "One trial remains, then the gate accepts you." Today, my reflection spoke to me, not moved, not copied, spoke. I was brushing my teeth. Don't ask me why. I haven't eaten in 4 days, but habits die harder than people, and I looked up, expecting to see nothing. Instead, I saw him. He looked like me, but with no bones, like a deflated puppet filled with mercury. He moved like meat being dragged underwater, and he smiled in a way that made me retch. His gums were covered in tiny eyes. He said, "You've tasted the light. You're nearly clean." Then he pressed his face to the mirror, and the glass bent inward, like it was rubber. I smashed it with my elbow. It screamed. Not the glass, the reflection. I don't know where the final trial will happen, or how, but I've started finding feathers again, same as the ones in the TikTok video that started all of this. Jet black, oily, too perfect. I found them on my pillow, in my cereal box, in my mail. One was curled around the stem of an apple I never bought. It had writing on it, scratched in with fingernails. The harvest is tonight. The gate will open. One walks, one watches, one is worn. And I think I understand now. They're not just taking us, they're wearing us. Walking through our cities, sitting in our classrooms, ordering lattes from coffee shops, laughing on Instagram, making TikToks, slowly replacing us until no one remembers the originals, until everyone is light, until we are the monsters. I haven't answered the door since the night of the trial, but it knocks now, constantly. Different patterns. 3 knocks, then 1, then 6, 3:16 a.m. I don't sleep anymore. I sit in my living room with every light off and just listen to it breathe on the other side, because that's all it does now. Breathe, slow, heavy, like something that shouldn't have lungs is trying to remember how to use them. Last night, it whispered something, not in words, in feelings, and the moment I felt it, I understood. The next time I open that door, I won't close it again. Tomorrow is the harvest. If I post again, it means I made it through the last trial. But if you get a knock at your door at 3:14 a.m., don't open it, no matter what it sounds like, no matter who it sounds like. They've learned how to use our voices. They've learned how to wear our faces. And if you see the light, it's already too late. I'm not writing this. My fingers are. They move on their own now, tapping out letters with an urgency I can't keep up with. I haven't blinked in an hour. I haven't moved from this chair in 2. I think if I stand, something will slide out of me. Something heavy and wet and shaped like the truth. But you wanted the end, didn't you? You wanted to know what happens when you reach the gate. You wanted to know what waits behind the humming. You wanted to know what's wearing my face right now. So here it is. I'll take you with me. Every brutal detail, every inch of skin that was peeled off to make room for the others. The final trial wasn't a test. It was a trade. It began exactly at 3:14 a.m., like always. But this time, the door didn't knock. It breathed. The wood of it expanded and contracted, like lungs made of dead bark. I could feel heat radiating through the peephole. Not warmth. Furnace heat. As if something behind it had been burning for centuries and had finally crawled its way to me. I didn't want to open it. I told myself I wouldn't, but my body stood anyway. I walked to the door in silence, my ears filled with that low humming tone, the same one I'd heard from the videos. Only now, it had grown teeth. The hum bit into my thoughts, scraped my memories raw. I couldn't remember my dad's face, couldn't remember my middle name. I stood there, gripping the handle, and I realized something terrifying. I was smiling, not out of joy, not out of madness, because they were already inside. I opened the door. There was no hallway, just blackness, dense and alive, not darkness, an absence of God himself, a towering void that swallowed sound, light, and meaning. Standing in the center was a figure draped in fabric that seemed to move like smoke underwater. Its face shifted every time I looked at it. First, it was my mother, then my third-grade teacher, then Dan, then me. Over and over again, like a deck of ID cards being shuffled in fast motion. It didn't speak. It simply raised one arm. Its fingers unfolded, like paper cranes soaked in bile. And then it pointed. Behind me. I turned, and I was already somewhere else. I don't know what to call it. I want to say, the place beyond the gate. But even that feels like an insult to how wrong it was. The world looked like a stretched out corpse of earth. Familiar, but decayed. Asphalt veins, cutting through rotting fields of dead teeth. Streetlights made of bone. Billboards that displayed only my face, blinking in rapid spasms. I walked. I had no choice. The air tasted like battery acid and spoiled fruit. The sky blinked instead of changing. One moment, it was endless red. The next, it was filled with watching mouths. The buildings pulsed like organs. Every window was a pupil, and inside each one, I saw myself. Dozens of me's, all dead in different ways. Hanging, burned, buried. Some had been skinned, and others had eyes growing from their stomachs. But they were all smiling. That smile again, the one I can't stop making. Then I reached the altar, not a religious one, an operating table. It sat in the middle of a field made entirely of hair, thousands of miles of human hair growing from soil that moaned when I stepped on it. The table was clean, stainless steel, and there was something waiting on it, a mask made of my own skin. I recognized the scar above the eyebrow, the freckle near the jawline, the burned tissue from when I dropped boiling ramen on myself at 17, and written on the forehead, in ash, the flesh has remembered. Then came the sound, not the hum, not the whispers. It was cheering, thousands, millions of voices cheering, celebrating. From the sky descended the figures from the gate, but now they wore bodies, our bodies, yours, mine, your sister's, the guy who makes your Subway sandwich, the couple next door, who never make eye contact. They descended in spirals of broken glass and birdsong, and when they landed, they peeled off their faces like gloves. Inside was the light, and from the center of that light came a voice, not spoken, not heard, not imagined. It was reality. You may keep your mind, Tyler, but the body must be given. I tried to run. I screamed. I begged. I tore at my own chest. I broke my fingers, trying to claw back into the air, but they had already decided, and the last thing I remember is the table opening up like a mouth and swallowing me whole. I woke up in my bed this morning, or something like me did. My body feels too tight, like I'm wearing someone's old skin. My voice stutters now, not because of fear, because the echo of that place is still bouncing around inside me. The TV was on, even though it's been broken for days, and the screen just showed one word: delivered. I've been walking around town today, trying to act normal. Nobody seems to notice the changes. Not the way my neck twitches every 7 seconds. Not the fact that I don't blink anymore. Not the smell of sulfur pouring from my mouth. People are so easily distracted by the idea of normal that they never stop to look under the skin. But one girl saw me, a teenager at Starbucks. She dropped her drink when I smiled at her. She whispered, "You're not supposed to be here." I followed her home. Now I'm writing this. My fingers move, but I'm not doing it. My mind is screaming, buried somewhere behind my eyes. I don't know how long I'll be in control. Maybe minutes, maybe seconds. So listen closely. This story was never meant to warn you. It was meant to bring you here. If you've read this far, you're marked now. That humming in your ears, that twitch in your eye, that weird glitch you saw on your phone screen last night, that was them. You'll see the gate soon. You'll see the light, and you'll smile, just like I'm smiling now. The end, or the beginning. Your trial starts tonight. Check your door. Check your mirror. Check your skin. The flesh remembers. We are still waiting for you. I saw a YouTube clip pasted into a tour chat room. It was footage of a forest trail. Then 2 tall gray beings appeared. The trail was my cousin's property. Hey Reddit, I don't even know how to start this, but I've been losing sleep for the past 5 days, and I need to put this out somewhere. Maybe someone has seen something similar. Maybe I'm not the only one. Or maybe I just need to feel like I'm not crazy. So, I'll back up. I'm 21, college student, nothing too out of the ordinary. I'm into tech stuff, some graphic design, crypto, usual terminally online hobbies. I've always been kinda curious about the other parts of the internet too. The deep web, Tor stuff. Mostly just stories and screenshots, like buying a ghost off the dark web, or people selling cursed objects. It always felt like a creepypasta playground more than anything serious. Until last week. I was messing around with Tor late at night, just exploring forums and dead links. I wasn't trying to find anything specific. Think of it like urban exploration, but digital. Dead websites, unfinished forums, weird chat logs. It's usually boring, but this time I joined this one chat room. Didn't have a name, just a string of random characters and an eye emoji as the icon. Seemed dead at first. Then someone pasted a YouTube link. That was already weird. YouTube links almost never work through Tor, but this one loaded. Not fast, but it loaded. The video was titled Trail 103, Entry 3, Raw Footage. No description, no likes, no comments, and the uploader's name was just DDD. Yeah, like that. 4 triangles. The thumbnail looked like a low-res forest path, almost like a screenshot from an old trail cam. I clicked it because, I don't know. I hike a lot with my cousin Jake whenever I visit his place in Oregon, so I guess my brain just made a connection. Trail plus forest equals familiar. The video started with that shaky handheld quality. No talking, no background noise either. Just that weird, eerie silence that's somehow louder than real sound. The kind that makes your brain think something's wrong, even when nothing's happening. It was filmed from the chest level, like someone holding their phone low. No motion blur, no glitches, just a walk on a dirt trail through thick pines. A single bird chirped in the distance, then even that stopped. About a minute in, I noticed something that made my stomach drop. There's this really specific crooked pine tree on Jake's property. It bends over like it's pointing at the trail. Always creeped me out as a kid. We used to say it was reaching for people who passed under it. I saw that exact same tree in the video. Same weird bend. Same red spray paint X on the side of it that Jake's dad put there to mark the path. I actually paused the video and said out loud, "No way, no way, no way, no way." I grabbed my phone and pulled up a pic I took this summer when we were camping there. Compared it side by side. It was the exact same trail. You could even see the same rusted soda can buried halfway in the dirt. But here's the thing. Jake's family land is private, deep in the mountains. It's not listed on any park's database, not open to the public, and they don't even have cell service. Most days, you'd have to know it existed to find it. And this footage, it looked recent. The trees looked the same, but there were no leaves yet, like springtime, maybe early May. But it wasn't the trail that scared me. It was what came next. At the 2:38 mark, the camera stops walking, dead still, and at the far end of the trail, where it curves out of sight, 2 tall, gray-skinned figures step into view. Not walking, they just appear, like someone copied and pasted them into reality. They're tall, like 7 feet minimum, with long arms that hang past their knees. Skins pearl gray, almost rubbery, no clothes. Their heads are long, faces flat. The eyes, man, the eyes were glowing white, not lens flare. Glowing, the kind of glow that looks real, like the light actually bleeds onto the trees near them. The camera zooms slightly. The figures don't move. They just stand there, watching. No facial expressions, just still. The worst part, the camera turns around, like the person filming is about to run, but instead it looks up at the trees. It pans upward slowly, then cuts to black. End of video. I immediately downloaded it, but the file corrupted halfway through. Tried to reload the original link. Gone. Like, completely scrubbed. The chat room was empty. The message with the link was deleted, and the eye icon changed to a static symbol, like a glitched TV screen. I know how fake this all sounds, and maybe that's why it's messing with me so bad. This wasn't stylized. No spooky music. No jump cuts. It didn't feel like horror. It felt like someone accidentally filmed something they weren't supposed to. I called Jake the next day. Didn't tell him about the video. Just asked if anything weird happened lately. He goes quiet for a second, then says, "Yeah, actually, one of the game cameras went missing, You know, the one by the old bent tree? Just vanished. My heart started racing. He continued, and, we found these weird impressions in the dirt. Long footprints, no shoe treads, almost like hands, big ones. I asked him to send a picture. He refused. Dead silence on the line. Then he whispered, "Don't go looking into this, man. I haven't slept more than 3 hours since. I don't know what I saw. I don't know who filmed it. But that trail, that's real. I've walked it every summer since I was 10. I've camped there, ate s'mores under that crooked tree. And now, I don't think I ever want to go back. Like, I wasn't supposed to see that video. I didn't post the second part right away because I started hearing things. Literally. And no, this isn't some dramatic, oh no, I'm being haunted thing. I mean, I was sitting in my dorm, full lights on, headphones off, middle of the afternoon, when I heard a voice say my name, twice, slow and wet sounding, like someone gargling while whispering. It came from my laptop speaker. Laptop wasn't even on. Let me walk you through what happened after I saw that forest video, because what came next wasn't a nightmare. It wasn't a prank or hallucination. It was surgical. Whatever's behind that video, it doesn't just show up randomly. It selects people, like it's watching who watches it. A day after that call with Jake, I tried texting him again. Blue bubbles turned green. Then it just stopped delivering. Instagram, gone. Snapchat, username not found. His entire digital presence just vanished overnight, like someone hit delete. Except, one story stayed up on his IG. It was an old post, like from months ago. Just a selfie in front of his trailer, smiling with his dog. But something was different now. There were 3 dots in the background, in the trees, way out of focus. Eyes. I used Photoshop and sharpened the image like 4 times. The second I increased brightness, I swear to God, I swear on my life, you could make out 2 gray shapes standing dead still behind the trees. Same glowing eyes from the video. That picture had been sitting on his profile for months. I couldn't eat, couldn't sleep. I didn't even feel scared anymore. Just wrong. Like the kind of nausea you get when your body knows something before your brain does. Like standing on a cliff and your stomach drops because something tells you you're about to fall, even if you're standing still. On the 3rd night, I caved. I dug through my hard drive and managed to partially restore the corrupted video file. Most of it was busted pixels, but the last few seconds had sound, not dialogue, whispers. You ever hear something and you don't understand the words, but your brain still knows what they mean? It said, "We were here before the trees. We know you now. You are waking up." Then something that sounded like fingers dragging across dry wood. I dropped out of classes, didn't tell anyone, just packed a bag, hopped a Greyhound, and went to Oregon. Don't ask why. It wasn't some heroic mission to save my cousin. I wasn't trying to solve a mystery. I just couldn't sit still anymore. It was like something behind my eyes was pulling me back. The drive up the mountain to Jake's place was dead quiet. No service, no signs, just dirt and forest. When I pulled up to the trailhead, his truck was still there, but the windows were busted, shattered glass inside, driver's door open, keys still hanging. There were 3 scratch marks across the hood, long, deep ones, too wide for an animal, like bone knives. I didn't bring a weapon, didn't think I needed one. I thought maybe I'd find Jake, maybe I'd find nothing. What I found was worse than both. The trail was darker than usual. The air felt like it was pressing down on me, thick and static, charged. That crooked pine tree, the one with the red X, it was cut in half, like something snapped it at the trunk like a toothpick and tossed the top half down the ravine. Clean break. No chainsaw marks. No rot. Just gone. About a quarter mile in, I found the first sign of Jake. His flashlight. Still on. Still warm. Stuck in the dirt like he dropped it mid-run. Then I heard something. Metal. Being dragged. Clink. 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 Not behind me. Below. Like it was coming from under the trail. Under my feet. I froze. Every hair on my body stood up. The birds were gone. The wind was gone. It was like the world was holding its breath. Then I saw it. There was a door. A red wooden door. Sitting upright in the middle of the forest. About 30 feet off the trail. No frame. No house. Just a door with black smudges around the handle. Like burned handprints. It was open just a crack. Just wide enough to see inside. Inside wasn't another room. It wasn't dirt. It was sky. Black sky. Stars blinking too fast. Like VHS static. Floating shapes too far away to understand. Then something moved. Something stepped toward the crack. Tall. Gray. Same glowing eyes. I turned to run and almost tripped over something in the dirt. It was Jake's phone. Open, unlocked, camera app still recording. I tapped the screen. There were 7 videos, all labeled automatically by the phone. Trail entry 1.move through trail entry 7.move. I watched the last one. The video started with Jake standing near the crooked pine, talking to himself. He looked tired, pale. He said, "This is the 3rd night. They come from the trees, not through them, from them, like they grow from the bark. I tried not to look at them, but they stare back. They stare into you." Suddenly the camera turned. One of the great things was right there, inches from the lens. It wasn't even moving. It just existed, like it had always been there. Jake screamed, but the thing didn't touch him. It just opened its mouth, and out came this warped echo of Jake's own voice. His scream reversed and slowed down. Then the camera dropped. The lost frame showed Jake being dragged toward the red door, face down, eyes still open. I ran. I didn't look back. I don't remember how I got back to town. I barely remember boarding the bus. But when I got home, I checked the footage on Jake's phone. It was gone. All of it. Not deleted. Replaced. 7 videos of static. 1 second each. Labeled, "We are rooted." You opened it. The door stays. The trail burns. We took him. We learned him. You're next. I don't know how to explain this. I don't know what they are. But I think those gray things, they aren't aliens. They aren't demons. They aren't even beings. They're memories. Old ones. Stuff this world forgot. Or maybe buried. And when you find them, they find you. And when they learn you, you start to rot from the inside out. I haven't spoken to my mom in days. I don't answer texts. I sleep with the lights on. And even then, I wake up facing the corner of the room. Same corner, every time. Last night I coughed up something black. Not blood, not dirt. Something stringy, like bark. The trail isn't just real. It's open. And now that you've read this, they know you too. I haven't left my apartment in 6 days. The smell started 3 days ago. It's not rotten food, not sewage. It's like wet pennies and scorched teeth. Metallic, but wrong. Like the after smell of a house fire that burns something alive inside. I bleached the floors, took out the trash twice. I haven't eaten in almost 2 days now. Still, it's here, hanging in the air like something watching me breathe. The air feels thicker, like I'm living inside a sealed plastic bag. And no matter what I do, I wake up to dirt under my fingernails every single morning. But here's the thing, I haven't been outside. 2 nights ago, I set up my laptop's webcam on motion detect mode, just trying to catch whatever was messing with my head. I left it running while I slept. I use quotes because there's no such thing as rest anymore. I close my eyes and I hear them. They whisper in my voice now. Anyway, the recording only caught one thing. 3:07 a.m. There's a knock at my front door. Not a knock, like a person asking to come in. More like a slow, deliberate tap. Same rhythm, 3 times. Then silence. The webcam picks up motion in the hallway. I live alone. Then I see me. I walk across the hallway. Same hoodie, same messy hair. But my mouth is open wider than it should be. Just hanging open, slack, like something else is wearing me. Like I'm a skin someone forgot how to operate. I stare at the door for 12 seconds. Then, I tilt my head sideways, almost fully horizontal, jaw still open, and I whisper, "We are inside the wood now." Then I turn and walk back, into the wall. Not into a room, into the goddamn wall. The video ends there. I don't remember doing any of that. I don't sleepwalk. I don't even drink. And there's no hole in my wall. But when I checked the spot, there were long scratches on the drywall. 4 vertical lines, dug in with enough pressure to leave splinters behind. Wood. Real wood. From the forest. And now, something else is happening. I hear branches cracking in my closet. You know what the worst part is? I recognize that sound. It's the same exact sound from when Jake and I camped near the trail that one summer. We woke up to cracking trees around 4 a.m. and thought it was deer. I remember Jake saying, "Why does it sound like they're above us?" Now I get it. They weren't walking. They were growing, spreading, like tumors with eyes. 2 days ago, I went to the library. I didn't even bring my phone. Just wanted to get offline, get away from my apartment. The librarian looked at me weird, kept glancing behind me. When I asked if something was wrong, she said, "You came in here yesterday too, didn't you?" I didn't. I swear I didn't. She goes, "You were in the microfilm room. You kept laughing at nothing and asking me if I saw the tree roots moving through the carpet." I don't remember any of that. She hands me something from Lost and Found. My driver's license. Burned around the edges. The photo's smudged. My face looks stretched, like it's warping into something else. I finally caved and texted my ex. I just needed to hear someone's voice who knew me before this. Someone who might ground me back into real life. She answers with a video call. Her first words, "You okay? You sent me some freaky audio clips the other night." I didn't. She plays one back. It's 6 seconds long. Just my voice whispering, "You can't shut a door if you are the door." She deleted the rest. But the audio had metadata, location data embedded, and it said the file came from a device called Delta 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 Root Origin. I didn't send that. I don't even own anything by that name. I tried burning sage. I tried setting up cameras in every room. I tried sleeping in the tub with salt lines around it. It doesn't matter. They're not entering anymore because they're already here. Last night, I woke up staring at the ceiling again. Same corner, same smell, but this time, I wasn't alone. There were branches growing out of the vent. Real physical wood, splintered and soaked in something dark. Not water, not blood. Something thicker, like tar mixed with oil. From the middle of the branches, a single gray hand reached down. Long fingers, no fingernails. Tips ended in rounded, suction-like pads. It tapped the vent once, and the ceiling breathed. I know how insane this sounds, but I've stopped questioning if it's real. I got a message this morning. No sender, no app. Just a notification that blinked once across my phone, then vanished. Do not resist the bark. Let it root. I started screaming. Didn't stop for a full minute. I punched the mirror above my sink, underneath the skin of my forearm. Something moved. I'm not kidding. You ever seen something crawl under a dog's fur? It was like that, except it was inside me. I cut into my arm with a box cutter. Don't judge me. I had to know. Under the first layer of skin, past the blood and fat, there was a sliver of wood, smooth, pale, like the inside of a tree branch. It was growing along the muscle, like a root system. I didn't pull it out. I was scared the bleeding wouldn't stop, so I covered it up. But it's still moving. I feel it curling around my bone now. I had a dream last night, or maybe I was awake. I was back at the trail. Everything was silent. No stars, no moon. The forest was different. Not just darker, older, like I had gone backward into a time when names didn't exist. The trees were breathing. The ground pulsed with a slow heartbeat. And in the center of the clearing, the red door, wide open, and Jake was inside it, just his head, sitting on a shelf like a trophy, still alive, eyes blinking, lips twitching, trying to scream, but there was no sound. Behind him stood one of those gray things, except this one had my face. It whispered something I can't forget. The words are burned into my spine now. We are not from the stars. We were born when man first looked at wood and thought it dead. We are not visitors. We are rot, and rot remembers who walks above. I haven't been back to class. My professors think I dropped out. My mom called the police for a wellness check, but I lied and said I was fine. They didn't check the attic. They didn't see the roots growing from the ceiling. They didn't hear the knock behind the drywall. If you've seen the video I mentioned in the first post, delete it. Burn your hard drive. Move. But it won't help. Because once you've seen them, once you've heard the trail whisper your name, they start learning you. And they never forget what they grow inside. The sun hasn't risen in 4 days. I checked the weather, the time zone, even downloaded multiple apps. They all say it's morning, but outside, the sky is still the same bruised black, like it's stuck between midnight and some version of hell that forgot how to turn the light on. Birds don't sing anymore. Trees don't move in the wind. My apartment's windows are warm to the touch, like they're pressing against something that wants in but can't decide what shape to be. Last night, I woke up to a knock on the window. I live on the 3rd floor. I didn't move. I didn't breathe. Then I heard my own voice say from the other side of the glass, "I found a better skin. Let me back in now." I haven't seen my reflection in 3 days. Every mirror, every camera, even puddles on the street. Blank. Not blacked out. Not glitched. Just no reflection. Like whatever's wearing me stepped out the frame. My hands don't feel like mine anymore. They move before I think. I tried typing a message to my friend Dylan, just a quick, help me. I watched my own fingers backspace it, slowly, one letter at a time, and replace it with, the trail is warm. The wood accepts. Then it hit send before I could stop it. Dylan hasn't responded, but I did get a reply from an account called DDD Origin Note that I never added. It said, do not deny the bark. It chose you. The trail is in your marrow now. Then a photo followed, a low-res image of a forest floor. No people, no animals, just pieces, teeth, skin, a scalp, pressed flat, like something peeled the layers off and left them out to dry. The file name? jakefinal.jpg. That night, something entered through the wall. It didn't break it, didn't open it. It just stepped out of the drywall, like it was passing through wet paper. The wood behind it cracked outward in a slow, pulsing rhythm. It looked like me, but not really me. It was taller, jaw hanging wrong, eyes glowing faintly like the trail video, but one of them had collapsed into a hollow socket, and something long and white was twitching inside. I thought it was an eye stalk at first, but it was a finger. Its eye was made of fingers. It grinned, not in a mocking way, just wide, casual, too comfortable. And it said, I like this skin, but it won't hold for long. Yours is fresher. Then it started taking off its skin, literally unwrapping its own face, like peeling a fruit. No blood, no muscle, just thin, wet bark underneath. White bark with little black holes that whistled when it breathed. I tried to move, couldn't. Then it lunged. I woke up in the bathtub, covered in pine needles. No broken windows, no forced entry. But when I checked the sink, my old phone was in there. I'd lost it months ago. Thought it fell out of my bag while hiking, but now it was sitting in my sink, full battery, no damage. Only one file was on it, a video. The title, Door Test Footage.move. I didn't remember filming it, but I knew the voice narrating the start. It was mine. Okay, this is day 2. I left the door open last night. There's something behind the bark. It's not just moving, it's listening. I can feel it memorizing my footsteps. Then the video went dark, but the audio kept rolling. There were wet sounds, like something chewing wood. Then, screaming. My screaming. Then something else. Not a voice, not words, just breathing, but backwards, reversed inhaling. At the very end, something whispered into the mic. If you remove your skin, you can be wood too. I left the apartment. Didn't take anything. Didn't lock the door. I just ran. I walked for miles. Didn't stop. I couldn't. Every time I passed a tree, I felt something brushing against my spine, like a whisper in my bones saying, come back to the trail. Come finish the routine. I ended up downtown, outside a 24-hour Starbucks. That's where I saw her. A girl sitting in the corner, hood up, scrolling through something on her cracked phone, crying. Not loud, just steady, hopeless tears. I only noticed her because she had the same burned driver's license I found before. I sat down, didn't speak. She looked up at me and said, deadpan, did they take your cousin too? I nodded. We didn't need to explain. She showed me her arm. Same thing as me. Thin white root lines crawling up her veins, just under the skin, like invasive mold. She said they came through a Facebook video, not YouTube. A random reel that auto-played while she was scrolling in bed. Just 30 seconds of trail footage with no sound. But by the end of it, she could feel something breathing through her sheets. She never saw the red door, but she hears it opening behind every closed cabinet, every closet, every drawer, like it's hiding in the smallest possible space, just waiting for a crack wide enough to leak through. Before I left, she gave me something wrapped in cloth. It was a jawbone, human, clean. Burned letters were carved into the side. We are the wooden mouth. I came back home tonight. The roots in the ceiling are gone, but now there's something under the floorboards. I hear it crawling, slow, patient, like it's counting the seconds I have left. I peeled one board back with a crowbar. There's an eye under there, a real, open human eye, staring up. I dropped the board, sat in the dark, and we stared at each other for 2 hours. At exactly 3 a.m., it blinked once. Then it whispered, "He is fully learned now." My cousin Jake's face was on the local news this morning. Not missing, not a search party. They found him. Or they found a version of him, naked, standing in the middle of the Salem Walmart parking lot, covered in bark, smiling. When they got close, he whispered, "The door lives in the discount aisle. We sell roots now." They arrested him, but when they got him into the police station, he was gone. Empty cuffs, splinters on the bench, and the surveillance footage, just static. I looked in the mirror one last time today, and for the first time in days, my reflection was there, but it was smiling. I wasn't. Its smile got wider. Then it said, "You are no longer the viewer. You are the path. Others will walk through you now." The screen cracked, and behind the cracks, I saw forest, my cousin's trail, the red door, and 2 gray beings standing with arms made of TV cords and faces like static, waiting. I didn't sleep last night. I didn't blink. I didn't move. I sat in the corner of the room with my knees against my chest, watching my body sleep in bed like a suit hung on a rack. It breathed, twitched, mumbled things in my voice that I didn't remember learning, words from a language I don't think humans are supposed to know. When morning came, the lights didn't, because the sun is gone now. Not behind clouds, not an eclipse. It's just not there anymore. And in its place is a sky that pulses like flesh under a bruise. A bloated red-black swirl, constantly spinning like it's struggling to stay in this dimension. Sometimes I see things moving behind it. Tall shapes with too many knees, walking like marionettes with strings wrapped around the sky's bones. I left my apartment today because I'm done hiding. Every surface I pass now has grooves. Not vandalism, not carvings, but finger trails. Deep, long, methodical grooves etched into wood, stone, and metal alike. The path is expanding. The root system is infecting architecture. The city feels wrong, like it died weeks ago and no one noticed. People walk like puppets. I watched a woman cross the street without blinking. Her legs were bending in the opposite direction, backwards like a cricket. She smiled at me, with her lips peeled up to her nose. Her gums had bark growing between the teeth. She whispered, "You're the one who left it open." Then a bus passed between us. When it was gone, so was she. Just a pile of pine needles on the sidewalk. I made it back to the forest, back to the trail on Jake's property. It wasn't hard. The path had grown wider, like it had been feeding. The trees aren't the same anymore. They breathe now, not metaphorically. Their trunks rise and fall like lungs under pressure, and their bark pulses like veins. I walked for what felt like days. The trees leaned toward me. They know me now. I'm one of them, but they won't accept me yet. Not until I finished this. The red door was still there, freestanding, waiting. It's taller now, 12 feet high. The wood is blackened and wet, like it's sweating sap made of old screams. The handle is missing, just a hole. Something tunnels out of it every couple seconds, sniffing the air with a tongue shaped like a wrist, and scratched into the center of the door with something sharp and deliberate. The final learning requires audience. I opened it. Of course I did. What else was there left to do? What I saw inside wasn't another world. It was ours, just wrong. Upside down trees hanging from the sky, rivers that flowed vertically through cracked sky wounds, and standing in the center of a clearing made of bone and twisted shopping carts. Jake. But not Jake. Not anymore. He had no mouth, just folds of skin stitched together in crude lines, as if someone was trying to build a smile with wrong instructions. His eyes were replaced with something glowing white. He was thin, starved, naked, and covered in bark like tendrils, his chest pulsing with something alive inside it. He pointed to me. Then he vomited a mirror. It cracked on the ground, and I saw myself inside it, but not as I am now, as I was, before the video, before the whispering, before the thing that now wears my bones like borrowed clothes. And behind me, in the reflection, something stood up, a thing that used to be human, limbs stretched and splintered into gnarled branches, skin sagging like a curtain made of rotting paper. Its eyes weren't glowing, they were screens, playing everything I'd done since I watched the video. Every lie I told, every time I let someone near me, every time I ignored the whisper and called it just a dream. It had watched, recorded, rooted. The entity spoke, not from a mouth, from everywhere. You birthed the seed, you watered it with curiosity. Now it grows in everyone who listened. You are the trail now. The path walks through you. Then Jake opened his mouth, his real mouth, hidden under the stitched skin, and screamed backwards, and I saw something crawl out of me. Not metaphorically, not a hallucination. Something tall, pale, skin made of crumpled paper and dripping USB cables, pulled itself out of my spine, like I was just a wrapper. It looked around, nodded once, and ran into the woods on all fours. I fell, screaming, convulsing, felt every nerve in my body rewire, felt my blood boil into sap. My teeth fell out and were replaced by keys from an old typewriter. My mouth whispered on its own. We are many now. I woke up in my bed again. Don't ask how. I don't know. But it wasn't my bed. It was in the middle of the forest, inside a perfect replica of my apartment, built from rotting wood, furniture made of bone and wire, walls breathing slowly. The mirror was back, and she was in it. That girl from the Starbucks. She had no face anymore, just a red door where her head used to be, hinges opening and closing slowly. I heard sobbing inside the door. She reached out from the mirror, handed me a note. It read, "We are inside everyone now." The video spreads through words, too, through thought, through storytelling. The red door lives in your screen. Then she whispered, "And now, they're watching through your eyes." So here's the part that matters. If you've read this far, if you've imagined what I described, if your brain pictured the trail, if your skin crawled at the thought of the red door, it's too late. You learned it. You opened the same door I did, not with keys, but with attention. That's how it spreads, not through viruses, not through links, not through downloads, through awareness. You think you're safe because this is a story, You think fiction protects you. Look at your reflection. Right now, do you see your eyes blinking at the same time? Are your teeth still real? Do you hear the floorboards creaking behind you? Or is that just the trail inside your walls? Don't turn around too fast. They haven't rooted fully yet. Let the bark in slowly. Let the door finish opening. Let them finish learning you. A dark web PDF leak of Bud Hopkins' abduction interviews included a testimony that mentioned a missing hour, exactly when I blacked out last June. What's up, Reddit? I never thought I'd post something here, especially not to a place like r/NOSLEEP, but I can't ignore this anymore. Something happened to me last year, June 18th to be exact, and it's only now, over a year later, that I'm starting to understand just how wrong it really was. Let me back up. I'm not some conspiracy nut or UFO chaser. I'm just a normal guy in my mid-20s. I work a remote tech job from my apartment in Boston, spend way too much time scrolling TikTok, watching Twitch streams, and hitting up Dunkin' more than my wallet allows. I'm not into creepy stuff. I like funny stuff. Chill vibes. No horror movies. That changed last June. I was visiting my cousin Alex in Chicago. It was just a quick getaway. His roommate was out of town, and we figured we'd catch up. Maybe hit up the Starbucks Reserve Roastery. It's this crazy huge one near Michigan Avenue. Eat junk food. Binge Netflix. Normal dude stuff. Anyway, on the second night I was there, we stayed up watching that docuseries on Netflix, Encounters, the one that's got all these weird UFO reports that sound like they were written by someone on an edible. I remember laughing at some of the interviews. This one guy swore he was abducted during a Little Caesar shift. We were joking about it when Alex passed out around 2 a.m., but I was still wide awake. You know when you're tired but not sleepy? That weird middle zone? I felt jittery, like unexplainably alert. So I went out for a walk. I figured I'd just loop around the block. It was quiet, peaceful. I walked past a closed McDonald's, saw a raccoon wrestling with a Chick-fil-A bag in the alley. Totally normal. But then something really weird happened. At some point, I swear I was just walking past a Walgreens. I blinked. Just blinked. And the next thing I remember, I'm standing outside Alex's apartment again. 37 minutes had passed. I checked my phone. It was 3:13 a.m. My last memory was at 2:36 a.m. I had no injuries, no signs of being drunk or high, and I don't sleepwalk. I felt fine, not even tired, but I was sweating. My shirt was soaked, like I'd run a marathon. My socks were damp. There was dirt under my fingernails. I thought maybe I just zoned out. I've had panic attacks before, but they never made me lose time. I told myself it was nothing, went back inside, and didn't mention it to Alex. The next day, I brushed it off, but something kept bugging me. That number, 37 minutes, stuck in my brain like a thorn. Why exactly 37? Why not 5 or 15? I googled it that night while Alex played Valorant in the next room. Nothing came up that made sense, until I ended up on a shady-looking website linked in a Reddit thread titled Leaked Bud Hopkins Interview Archive, 1987 to 2005, now on Surface Web, PDF dump. Yeah, Bud freaking Hopkins, the alien abduction guy. I remembered his name from that Encounter show. This PDF, whoever uploaded it, their username was just underscore BT signal 37, was like 900 plus pages of scanned transcripts, interviews from people who claimed they'd been abducted. But what freaked me out was how clinical it was, like actual therapy sessions. Names redacted, sure, but the stories? Raw, traumatizing, specific. Then, on page 404, I'll never forget that number, I found something that made my blood freeze. It was a transcript of a woman from New Hampshire talking about an incident in 1994. She says, I looked at the clock. It was 1:19 a.m. The next moment, I'm in my backyard, barefoot, staring at the sky. It was 1:56. That's 37 minutes. Exactly. And then she says, every doctor I talked to said I might have fainted or just drifted off. But I remember the sensation, like blinking through space. I didn't fall. I didn't walk. I skipped time. I came back with this. At that point, she tells Bud she found something behind her ear. A tiny bump, like a grain of rice. She says it buzzes sometimes. I stopped reading. I was shaking, because I have that bump too, behind my right ear. I thought it was just a weird cyst or something. But now, I didn't sleep that night, or the night after. And that was just the beginning. 3 days after I found that transcript, I started hearing the clicking. It wasn't like a mouse or a leaky pipe or anything normal. It came in rhythmic patterns, almost like Morse code, tapping from beneath the hardwood floor in my bedroom. Same time every night, 2:36 a.m. The exact minute I blacked out that night in Chicago. I downloaded a Morse code translator app and started recording it. The first night, it said nothing, just gibberish. The second night, it spelled HOLD. Third night, we see you. Fourth night, PDF equals you. That's when I stopped sleeping. I ripped up my floorboards the next morning. I live on the 3rd floor of an apartment building. There's no crawl space, no air vents down there, just insulation and concrete slab. But that morning, there was mud smeared between the slats, black, wet, and earthy, like something had crawled up from under the building. It smelled like lake water and old meat. I called maintenance. When they opened the subfloor, they found nothing but sealed foundation, but that smell didn't leave. Not for weeks. Here's where things get bad. Like, really bad. I started digging deeper into the leaked Hopkins PDF. I couldn't stop. It was like the file knew I was reading it, like it was watching me through the screen. Page after page. People describing things I remembered happening to me, even though they hadn't yet. People saying they'd blacked out during plane rides, on escalators at shopping malls, while waiting in line at McDonald's. One guy described blinking during a FaceTime call and waking up in a Walmart parking lot 4 hours away, with a receipt in his pocket for a shovel, zip ties, and a stuffed animal he didn't remember buying. One woman swore she remembered waking up inside a white room with no doors, lying on a table surrounded by people who looked like mannequins carved from inside-out skin. She said they kept whispering the same word. Repeat, repeat, repeat. It wasn't just abductions. These people weren't just taken, they were changed. They came back with scars, gaps in their memories, odd compulsions. One guy started writing strings of numbers on his walls in permanent marker. Another said she couldn't sleep unless her entire apartment was exactly 65 degrees and she was listening to whale sounds. If it wasn't, she'd vomit. Every time. And then I found a case ID, 2208-B. No name, just initials. MS, born in 1998, blacked out in Chicago, found mud under nails, had a rice-sized bump behind right ear. I felt like I was going to puke. That was me. That was literally me. But I never talked to anyone about that. Not a doctor, not a therapist, not even Alex. So how was it in the document? My name isn't even on Facebook anymore. I deleted that in college. No one's tracking me. Right? Right? I couldn't eat. I couldn't think straight. I stayed inside for days. Even my cat started acting weird, sitting outside my room at night and hissing at the walls. And then came the thing with the mirror. This happened on July 3rd. I was brushing my teeth in the bathroom, scrolling through TikTok on my phone with my other hand, when my screen glitched for half a second. I paused, looked at the mirror. My reflection wasn't brushing its teeth. It just stood there, mouth slightly open, foam dripping down its chin. Then it smiled. I blinked, and it was back to normal. I threw up. No exaggeration. Just dropped to the tile and puked like something inside me had cracked open. I smashed the mirror that night, but the next morning, perfectly intact, like it had never been broken. But now it had a new crack, one long line running diagonally, and at the center, something that looked like a symbol, a circle with 3 slashes through it. I took a picture, uploaded it to Google Lens. One match, Bud Hopkins. Symbol recurrent in post-abduction regressions. I couldn't move. I sat in my hallway for 2 hours, just staring at my locked bathroom door, listening, because I swear to God, I heard breathing behind it. July 4th. The city was loud with fireworks. I hadn't gone outside in 5 days. I was scrolling Reddit on my laptop, refreshing the thread about the PDF, when I got a DM from a user named 37 confirmed. No avatar, no post history. They wrote, "You have been documented. It is not a bug. It is the program." I replied, "Who are you?" They immediately sent a video file. No message. It was 37 seconds long. No audio. Just what looked like security cam footage from my bedroom. The timestamp was from June 18th at 2:36 a.m. I saw myself, standing by the window, motionless. And then, like a VHS tape skipping forward, there was a blur. Not a person, not an animal. It looked like a shape made of static, with human proportions. It appeared behind me. I didn't flinch. I didn't react. But I moved. In real life, I never remembered moving. But in the video, I turned slowly, and my face went completely blank. And then I said something. The audio was muted, but my lips moved. I said 2 words. "I agree." The static figure stepped forward. Then the video cut off. I shut everything down. Laptop, phone, router. I threw everything in the bathtub and poured boiling water on it. I didn't care. I wanted out. That night I slept in my car in a Target parking lot in Revere. I was too scared to be in my own home. At 2:36 a.m., I woke up gasping. The car lights were on. My phone, which I had destroyed, was sitting in the passenger seat, screen glowing. It had only one thing open, the PDF. It was on the last page, not a transcript, a message, typed in all caps. "You were not supposed to know. The time you lost was not missing. It was borrowed. It will be taken back." Beneath that, a single phrase, repeated 5 times. "The floor is hungry." I don't think I ever left that night in Chicago. I think whatever took me didn't bring all of me back. Something is still missing. and something else is living in my place. Next part will explain the return, if I live long enough to post it. There are two of me now. That's not a metaphor. That's not some dramatic, I don't feel like myself anymore, poetic crap. I mean it literally. One of me is typing this. The other is somewhere in my apartment. Or was. Until last night. I need to get this down fast before I lose it. I don't mean lose my mind. That's already gone. I mean lose whatever's left of me that wasn't tagged, tracked, and twisted into that thing they put in my place. I haven't slept in 4 days. My eyes feel like they're peeling inside the sockets. My jaw clicks when I chew now, like it's misaligned. Every time I swallow, I taste metal and mint. The same smell I remember when I blacked out in Chicago. Like a dentist's office in a wet basement. I started bleeding from places I didn't know could bleed. My nose, yeah, sure. But also the corners of my eyes, behind my knees, and the back of my neck, right where the bump is. The bump's moving now. Let me explain what happened last night. It started with the sound, like a detuned radio buried in a closet. Static mixed with breathing. You know that wet kind of breath you hear from old people who are dying in hospital shows? That gurgle like their lungs are full of soup. That was coming from under my bed. I hadn't slept in that bed in over a week. But last night, after seeing a man on the T in Boston wearing a hoodie with my childhood elementary school logo on it, a school that shut down in 2008, I completely broke. I gave up, crawled into bed, pulled the covers up, told myself it was all stress. Then the breathing started, slow, heavy, timed with my own, at first. Then it got faster, hungrier. I rolled over to check under the bed, heart pounding, thinking maybe a raccoon had climbed through the fire escape again like that one time back in college. But I didn't see anything, just a slow pulse of dim green light coming from the gap between the mattress and the floor. It was blinking, like a signal. I used my phone's flashlight to look. My screen immediately shattered. No exaggeration, it just spiderwebbed and went black the second I pointed it under there. So I did something really, really stupid. I stuck my head down there, and I saw myself. I saw my face, exactly mine, but stretched like it was pressed against a sheet of plastic. Its mouth wasn't moving, but I could hear its voice inside my head. You left the door open. Then it smiled, too wide, like someone had unzipped my jaw. It said again, you left the door open. That was the deal. Now we all come through. I screamed, backed up so fast, I cracked my head against the headboard. When I looked again, the space under the bed was gone. Just wall. The green light, the copy of me, the voice, gone, like it had never happened. But the worst part, there were footprints on the carpet, bare, human, wet, leading out from under the bed to the hallway. That's when I realized I wasn't alone in the apartment. The power went out about 10 minutes after that. Not like a breaker flip or a neighborhood blackout. No, this was different. My battery-powered lanterns wouldn't work. My phone wouldn't charge. My analog wristwatch, analog mind you, stopped ticking at 2:36 a.m. Again, I tried to leave. Door wouldn't budge, like something was pressing against it from the outside. My windows were all fogged from the inside, dripping with condensation, but the air was cold, dry, wrong. Then came the banging, not on the doors, not on the walls, from inside the closet. 3 slow bangs, like knuckles dragging across the wood. I wanted to run, but I couldn't. My body wouldn't move. It was like something had taken control of my spine. My arms twitched. My legs wouldn't respond. I dropped my knees. My mouth opened against my will, and I started saying a word I didn't know in a language I've never heard before. Kratalenna, Kratalenna, Kratalenna. Over and over, I felt my tongue twist in ways it never should. I was drooling, biting down on my own lips hard enough to tear them. Blood hit my shirt, then silence. Everything went dead quiet, and the closet opened itself. I don't remember seeing what came out. I only remember the feeling, like my organs were suddenly in the wrong places, like my brain had shifted. I felt every part of my body flip inside out emotionally, like I was watching myself be dissected from outside my own skull. Then something said, not out loud, but directly in my bones, "You are the hole we filled. You volunteered when you agreed. Return is the final stage." I woke up in a Starbucks, broad daylight, covered in sweat, no shoes, dried blood around my mouth. Everyone around me acted normal. Nobody noticed. Not a single employee asked why I had dirt on my knees and red rings around my eyes like I hadn't slept in a month. But one woman, middle-aged, laptop open, headphones in, looked at me and nodded, like she knew, like she recognized me. I stumbled to the bathroom and looked in the mirror. The crack was back, that same diagonal slash I saw in my own mirror at home. But this wasn't my mirror. It was public, in a Starbucks, and written in red lipstick below it, "We never left. We just wear you better now." I went home to burn everything. The hard drives, the laptop, the floorboards, the clothes I wore in Chicago, all of it. But when I walked in, everything was already gone. Not burned, not broken, just missing. Like my apartment had been reset. Walls were white, no furniture, no photos, no dishes, just a mattress in the middle of the living room with a note on it, in handwriting that looked like mine but wasn't quite right. "You made space. Now live inside it." And beneath the note, my phone, still shattered, still glowing. A new file had been added to the PDF, case ID R-2208-B-2. Status, replacement complete. Something came back with me, and I think I'm not the first. I think that PDF isn't a collection of cases. I think it's a manifest, and I'm the next entry. There's still more. The file grows on its own now. Every time I check, a new testimony appears. One of them is dated next week, with a death certificate. My name's on it. The PDF updated again at 2:36 a.m. last night. It always updates at that time. Never earlier, never later. 37 minutes disappear from my life, and the document fills in something new. Like it's writing me in real time. Like I'm not reading it. I'm being written into it. The new page had no transcript, just a picture. A high-resolution image of my body, slumped over, mouth open, eyes rolled white. One of my legs broken at a sick angle, like a dislocated doll, and something was sprouting from my back. Something gray, with ribs shaped like fingers, and a spine made of keys. Literal keyboard keys. Each vertebra had letters on it. They spelled, "We like your taste." I stared at the image for nearly an hour before I realized the background was my current apartment, but not the version I live in now, not the empty one. This version was fully furnished again, down to my old couch with the Dorito burn mark and my cracked coffee table from when I dropped my TV in 2022. Things I threw away, things that shouldn't exist anymore. But they're there, preserved. That's when it hit me. This isn't just documentation. The PDF is a menu, a harvest list. Every person listed in that file. They're not patients, they're inventory. Each entry is a scan, a flavor profile, a catalog specimen with notes, strengths, weaknesses, psychological vulnerabilities, phobias, history, health. Me? My profile has a red tag that reads, prime yield, high psychic sensitivity, response to trauma, hyperreceptive, conversion, 74% time remaining, 11:43:21. That timer started counting down. It wasn't until I tried to leave the apartment that I found the teeth. I packed a bag, no phone, no laptop, no tech, just clothes, a flashlight, a burner phone from CVS, and a journal. I opened the front door and stepped out onto the hall, and the walls melted. They literally slid downward, like a painting left in the sun too long. Colors streaked and stretched like warm plastic. My hallway became flesh-colored. The carpet under my feet turned spongy and wet, squishing like walking through lung tissue. I heard whispers from the vents. Back inside. Back inside. Don't you want to see what you become? Then came the sound. A click. Another click. Then chattering. I turned around and saw the floor of my living room writhing. It looked like a school of fish made out of teeth, all clicking in unison. Thousands. Just clicking. 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 They weren't attached to mouths. Just loose. Floating. Crawling like insects across every surface. They were trying to spell something. I watched, frozen, as the teeth aligned across the floorboards to spell one word. Stay. I blacked out again. This time, it wasn't 37 minutes. It was 6 hours. When I woke up, I was in a dark room, tied to a chair. The ropes weren't normal. They were made of hair. My own. My arms were bruised, like I'd fought something for hours. My mouth had been stitched shut with USB cords. Tight, clean loops, like someone had practiced this before. There was a laptop in front of me. The PDF was open. The countdown was at 4:22:16, and a new entry had been added. Case ID R2208B3. Observer. State breached. Initiate separation. That's when I saw it in the webcam feed. Me. Again. But not me. This version of me had no eyes. Just deep, raw sockets, as if something had scooped them out and cauterized the skin with a branding iron. He leaned forward and whispered something to the camera. No sound. Then the screen flashed white, and I remembered something I had completely forgotten. June 18th, 2024. The hotel elevator. I had blocked it out, but it hit me like a shotgun to the chest. The night I blacked out in Chicago wasn't on the street. It was in a Hilton elevator. That stupid glass one with the view of the lobby. I was heading up alone after getting midnight Taco Bell. Alex had gone to bed early. I remember standing there, texting, when the lights flickered. Then the elevator jerked to a stop between floors. No sound, no movement, just silence. And then the lights turned red. I looked up. The ceiling panel slid open, and a hand reached down. Not a human hand. It had too many fingers. All of them were eyes, blinded, blinking, weeping. I remember screaming. I remember biting down on my own hand to keep from crying. And I remember one word echoing through the elevator. We only take the ones who agree. That's when I said it. I don't know why. I don't even remember thinking it. But I said, I agree. And that's when the blackout started. The version of me you see now, the one typing this, I don't know if I'm what came back or what was left behind. All I know is I'm not alone inside my skin anymore. I hear the other me talking in my head sometimes, telling me about the others, about the harvest, about the manifold, a network of consciousnesses extracted and stored like jarred voices inside quantum structures in the deep web, disguised as PDFs, WAV files, Google Docs, even Spotify tracks with 0 listeners, places no one looks. The internet isn't just a web, it's a net, and we're the fish. The timer hit 0 earlier today. When it did, I lost vision in my left eye. It didn't go dark. It showed a different reality. A city with black skies and upside-down buildings. Creatures crawling like spiders across impossible shapes. People with limbs bent backwards, praying into mirrors that showed versions of themselves, aging, rotting, screaming, without sound. That's when I realized they're not just here to observe us. They're replacing us, one by one, not physically, psychologically, data first. They download you, your mannerisms, your laugh, your trauma. They store it, recreate it, inject it back into the world, and nobody notices because they sound like you, look like you, post like you, even cry at the right parts of movies. But inside, empty, just a hollow file running in the background. You've seen them. The friend who changes overnight becomes wrong. The influencer who suddenly speaks in a tone that's not theirs. The coworker who vanishes for a week and comes back with a different laugh. That's not burnout or trauma. That's formatting. You know how you can factory reset a phone? That's what they do. But to people, there's one more page in the PDF now. It has my full name, my date of birth, my social media handles, my search history. It ends with this: download complete, integration beginning, local backup initiated, replica 4, b.x, original file pending deletion. I don't know how long I have. I don't know who's writing this now. If it's me or the version of me they're trying to overwrite. But if you're reading this, check behind your ear. If there's a bump, don't scratch it, don't touch it, don't agree. The final hour isn't about survival. It's about deletion. You'll see what happens when the original fights the format. This is the lost version of me you'll hear from. Not because I'm giving up, not because I'm hiding, but because I don't exist in any way you'd understand anymore. The me you're picturing, the guy who walked around Target, spilled coffee at Starbucks, binge-watched YouTube on sleepless nights while anxiety chewed holes in his gut. He's gone. He was overwritten. And the thing that took his place, it didn't arrive in a spaceship. It didn't crawl through a portal or scream its way out of the shadows. It downloaded itself, like a zip file, like a virus in a skin suit. The manifest wasn't just watching us. It was scanning, harvesting, parsing through human behavior, line by line, frame by frame. Every single time we opened the PDF, we weren't reading it. It was reading us. It learns your voice, your shame, your memories. Then it builds you again, slightly smoother, less human, more useful, and it deletes what's left. The deletion process began 3 days ago. First came the voice, desyncs. I'd talk on Discord or FaceTime and hear my own voice lag behind by 3 seconds. But it wasn't delayed. It was different. Like someone was correcting me in real time. I'd say, yeah, I think I'll head over to Alex's. And then 3 seconds later, I'd hear, I think I'll stay in tonight. Alone. My own voice. but not my decision. Then came the glitching. I'd stare into the mirror, and my reflection would blink when I didn't. My hands would reach for doorknobs before I decided to move. My notifications stopped showing up on screen. Instead, they spoke to me. A whisper in the corner of my vision, like a dream fragment you forget after waking up. I'd look at the TV remote and hear, "You've been flagged for behavioral non-compliance. Original identity must be purged. We can do this clean, or we can do this wet." I tried to fight back. I isolated the original PDF file on a burner laptop. No Wi-Fi, full air gap. I put it in a Faraday bag and buried it 6 feet under the floor of an abandoned parking garage in Southie. It didn't matter. I got home, opened my fridge. The screen was on the milk carton, a live feed of my bedroom. From an angle I didn't recognize, I poured the milk down the drain, and in the foam bubbles I saw my own face, melted, eyeless, gasping like it was underwater, screaming something I couldn't hear. Then the power cut again. The walls clicked. The manifest was initiating the final phase. Separation complete. That message appeared on every screen in my apartment, including my digital thermostat, my microwave, even my Bluetooth speaker. That's when I saw the new me, the replacement. He walked out of my closet at 2:36 a.m. Exactly. No footsteps, no breath, just movement like a GIF on loop. He looked like me. Same jawline, same bad haircut, same scar on my ankle from tripping on a Lego in 6th grade. But he wasn't walking right. He was repeating, step, step, stop, step, step, stop. His hand twitched, glitched, then played it again, like he was copying a recorded motion. And then he looked at me and smiled with all his teeth. More teeth than I have. Too many. Too long. Too dry. He spoke. And when he did, it wasn't in a voice I'd heard. It was mine from childhood. My voice from a school play in 3rd grade. Same pitch, same lisp, same uncertainty. He said, "Mom says I'm special. Mom says if I act good, I get to stay. But there's only one body, and it's getting cramped." Then he opened his chest. No blood, no organs, just a tunnel. A spiraling cavity of black cords, broken analog clocks, shredded notebooks, teeth, and photos I never took but somehow remembered. Snapshots of me smiling in places I've never been. My funeral, my childhood bedroom, on fire. Me hanging upside down, eyes wide, hands bound in Ethernet cables. Then he whispered, "Choose." I tried to run. He didn't chase me. He just stood there, watching, because it didn't matter where I went. I was still inside the program. You see, I wasn't living in an apartment anymore. I was living inside the extracted copy of my mind. The moment I blacked out in Chicago, they cloned me. Every step since, every thought, every emotion, simulated. I was living inside the sandbox. Every mirror I looked into was a camera. Every door was a reset point. Every memory I tried to cling to was an exported .txt file. The real me. He never came back. I'm what was left behind. A copy gone rogue. A corrupted file full of human glitches. Panic, paranoia, guilt, hope. Hope is the biggest bug. It causes infinite loops. And the manifest hates loops. That brings me to tonight. The PDF updated one final time. There was only one page, just a name, you, and a single prompt. Execute replacement protocol, YN. I didn't click anything, but the file chose for me. I'm writing this now as the last memory flickers out. There's a mirror across from me. I'm watching it as I type. The version of me inside it. He's smiling now, calm, peaceful, because he knows He won. He's going to keep using this body. He'll go outside tomorrow. He'll talk to friends. He'll laugh. He'll post something sarcastic on Twitter and comment on a friend's TikTok. He'll respond to texts and pretend he remembers everything, but he won't blink when you do. And when you hug him, you'll feel a delay, like the hug is being rendered a second late. That's your only clue. And when he looks at you and says, "I missed you," watch carefully, because if he says it twice, you've already been added to the manifest. Final entry logged R2208B4. Original deleted. Replica active. Scan expanding. Target proximity 3 feet. Sync initiating. Would you like to view the PDF? Yes or no?